you.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Is this Aaron?
Yes, sir, it is.
Oh, bless you, bless you. Listen, I wanted to contact you folks and let you know that I got the card that you sent, and thank you so much.
Oh, good.
It's such a blessing. Also, I had talked with Rudy, I believe day before yesterday or something like that, about a guy that we'd found that could possibly help in the law thing concerning what I'm doing. And I just wanted to touch base with that one more time because Rudy had said something, and this is what stuck in my mind, about sending me a King James Bible. And I received the Bible. That's not the thing. When Agnes found this man, she found that he was a black man by the name of James Bible. And that's what clicked in my head about Rudy sending me a King James Bible. And I told him at the time that the only thing that was missing was the King part of the King James Bible. Well, yesterday, in talking with Agnes, a friend of ours over there, had Googled this man's name and stuff and found that he lives and works in King County. So we have a full King James Bible.
Wow. Cool.
So
Okay. Yeah, we will.
I've lived in this pit for 32 years, and I've never looked for signs like that. Now, the last time I had a sign given me like this was when my nephew Charlie had a dream about seeing me being brought home on a motorcycle by a light-haired woman.
Huh.
That was before Agnes came into my life.
Wow.
And Agnes then got here, got in contact with me, and we wrote, and she decided that she wanted to come and see me and see the land where I was from. She got in contact with my nephew and his wife, and they took her to my home property. When she got there, Charlie started crying because he said, "This is the woman that I saw in the dream that was bringing Pat home." And he gave her a ring that I had given him before I went to prison. He said, "Here, this is Pat's, it's yours now." That day, when they went up to the home property, on the way in there, they stopped because she's always had an admiration and a touch in her heart over the white cottonwood or alder trees, because in the native way, the alder tree is what is used as the center post in the Sundance. It's the post that everybody is tied up to. They take a live tree that's so tall and still has the leaves on the top, and they plant it in the center of the dance area, and they hook up and offer their pain to grandfather in the dance, in the rite. She's always had a connection to that, and when she saw the alder trees that are just before the gate going in to my folks' property where I was raised. She started crying, and Lawana didn't know what she was crying about, and it brought tears to her eyes too. Agnes had said she turned around and saw a little boy walking down the road, and that little boy was me.
Wow.
So, and then there's, when I first got to prison, when we'd been found guilty on April Fool's Day, mind you, and I told the judge that day that there would come a time when she would know that she had put an innocent man in prison, and it would be too late. In 2004, she passed away from cancer. Before she passed away, she told her husband, to do everything that he could to get me free because she was sure that she had locked up an innocent man. Now, what I said to her is on record because it was a statement that she asked of us. In the process of that, then, before this, when we got to prison in the next month of 87, Dad was in one unit in Walla Walla, in the one north unit, and I was in unit 6. And we got called to the captain's office, Captain Richard Morgan, and we were told that morning that my half-brother Jim, Elmer's next oldest son to me, had been killed in a car wreck. And I said, "Oh, that is why he came to see me in the dream last night then." And the captain and the 2 lieutenants that were there, and even my dad, turned white in the face because they couldn't believe, couldn't understand. So I tell you, in this dream, I was with an old friend at Seattle, and we were in this dream going and picking up my mother, and going and picking up my father, and going and picking up, and this was my adopted parents and stuff, and going and picking up my brother Levi, and my brother Jim, and my sister, my true sister Frances, and taking them to this friend's house. And each time we would go out to pick one of them up, when we would get back to the house with the one that we picked up in Seattle area, the others had left again. So I told him finally, we have to pick up everyone all at once so that we can bring them back to the house. Okay. When I did so, then we picked up everyone and brought them back, including James. When we got out, everybody went into the house, and I turned around and looked at James, and I told him, come on in the house. And he looked at me and he said, "This is as far as I go with you." And he turned away for a moment, and when he turned back, he had in both of his hands the necklace that is a choker, and it had a bear's claw on it, and it had a rattlesnake skin behind it, and 2 rattlesnake rattles hanging down from either side. And to the outer side of that, there was a walrus ivory tooth that was a copy of an elk's ivory tooth from our homelands and stuff. And I had None of this. This was in the dream. Jim turned to me and offered this to me, and he says, now, this is you. This is Medicine Bear. This is your new name. I was with the gal that was my court clerk in our trial. And after this, and I told her nothing about this, but there were ones on the reservation that all of a sudden started giving her things. The bones for the choker, they're called, anyway, they're long tube bone pieces that make up the choker necklace. And there was all of this stuff, the bear claw, and there was a man that was in prison with me, in the cell with me later on down the road, that had rattlesnake medicine, and he couldn't wear it, so he gave it to me because the snake that was one of the snakes that had been destroyed by his friend had bit him and almost killed him. He couldn't wear the medicine, so I fashioned it, and when it was done in making the choker, it immediately popped into my head. This is what Jim showed me in the dream, and it's been with me up until now. I had to send it to Agnes. Agnes has taken very good care of it and stuff, and this starts making a full circle with the King James Bible man that is to help me get free.
Good. Do you have a theory on who killed Lou?
What's that?
Do you have a theory on who killed Lou?
Yes, I do.
Can you do us a favor and write down a very concise account on what you believe is the truth? And there are people who are very eager to hear what your theory is, and they will look into it.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
And everything that I see is supported by the record, and the prosecution did not want to address that because the timeline shows this, and I will tell you now in advance.
Okay.
The timeline shows that John Dick and Lou Millard crossed the back of the property fence to come into Elmer's yard. This is in the trial record. This is what John Dick stated, that he and Lou Millard came across the fence, crawled through the fence to come on the back of the property, and they were talking and bantering and this and that, trying to make out that they could be heard, and that's not the case. They come in sneaking, and they came in with guns in hand. Now, there's a chicken coop, and my dad, I put him at the back corner of the chicken coop, and it runs east and west on the property. The property runs north and south, and it's deceiving because his property is on a hill, and the hill runs up to the south, not to the north, runs to the south. All the pictures on the property are from north to south. So they're at the bottom of the road, and they picture up on the property. The chicken coop is in the middle portion of the property, and Dad was to the left of that in any photographs that might have been there that they could have taken of him. I was on the other end, and the officers came in the middle of the night from left to right there. I believe that Mr. Millard was behind John Dick, And John Dick stated in court that when the shots were fired, he was the first one to get shot, and he got shot in the back. That tells me that Lou Millard either saw him or saw Dad and opened fire. And John Dick said in court that he turned around and returned fire in that direction. So he shot in the direction of Lou Millard. I was so far away that Dad was in between me and anyone that could be seen, as well as the chicken coop was too. So I couldn't be seen, and I couldn't see them. Now, John Dick claims that and the shots, when the shots were fired, went like this: pow, 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 pow. Dad said that he shot 3 times with the 9mm that was claimed to have killed the officer. I know what was put in that pistol. There were 3 aluminum hollow points, Winchester Super X 115 grain bullets that were put in there. Those casings are still in evidence. Nothing like that was taken from John Dick or from Lou Millard. They claimed that there was full metal jacket projectiles removed from them, as well as from Elmer. But if you take the photograph that Elmer had taken of the procedure to remove the bullet from him and the photograph of the bullet that was taken out of Lou Millard's body, and compare them, you can see with naked eye that they come from at least a like pistol. And the police were shooting Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum 38 Special.
Not hollow points.
Yeah, not 9mm. And they match up. That tells a story that it matches up with the gun, matches up with the bullets that were taken out of the 2, my dad and Lou Millard. John Dick being shot first and shot in the lower right side underneath his arm, the bullet passing through the protective vest attachments on the side of the vest, going through him and hitting Dad and lodging in his chest on the back side of his right scapula. The bullet traveled down the back of the scapula and stopped in the loose skin on his outer armpit, and that's where the bullet was removed midway through the trial. On top of this, Mr. John Dick refused to let his weapon be tested. John Dick had moved out of the state and would not come back into the state of Washington until he was granted immunity by the prosecution to be able to state what he was supposed to state for them.
Wow. Well, that certainly gives us a lot to go on.
Yes.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I appreciate that quick summary, and we'll definitely pass this on.
Yeah, all of that has been burned down and stuff. There's nothing left there. For whatever reasons, things happened that destroyed the evidence scene, but it was destroyed before.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
Thank you, Patrick.
Because, yes, bless you, thank you, take care. My best to you and your man.
You too, and we hope to see you soon. Yes. Bye.
All right, bye-bye for now.
Hmm.